All right, we're going to get started. And good afternoon. It's good to have you with us. Good to see you virtually. Welcome to our topic talk on transportation and business. I'm Ted Ritter. I'm with the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, better known as the NJTPA. And this topic talk today is part of a whole series we're doing to gather input from people like you for the NJTPA's next long-range transportation plan. We call it Plan 2050, Transportation, People, and Opportunity. After I provide you with some background information, we're going to go into small group discussion about issues relating to transportation and business. Many thanks today to our co-hosts for today's topic talk, the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey and the Asian Indian Chamber of Commerce. Both of these organizations helped make this program possible and shared it widely with their contacts. We certainly appreciate and welcome the support. Okay, in case you're not familiar with the NJTPA, we're the federally authorized metropolitan planning organization for the 13-county northern and central New Jersey region. The NJTPA Board of Trustees consists of an elected official from each of these 13 counties, plus the cities of Newark and Jersey City, and then several partner agencies at the state and regional level. Now let's talk quickly about the NJTPA's next long-range transportation plan. It's one of our most important board-approved products, and we're required by the federal government to update it every 4 years. So you can think of it as a vision for the region's transportation future. So it includes things like forecasts for the region's ever-changing population, how we expect the transportation system to respond to those changes, how will travel patterns change over time, how many trips will take place and by what mode, things like that. Plan 2050 also will show the region's transportation needs and then what strategic improvements we're going to need to make over the next couple of decades. Now, a huge part of Plan 2050, of course, is kind of why we're here today, public engagement. We began Plan 2050 public engagement last fall, our outreach, and we'll be wrapping it up in a couple of weeks. So far, more than 1,500 people and counting have completed our short Plan 2050 survey. We held a series of virtual public meetings and partner organization meetings, TPA Tuesday symposiums, we did 3 of those, and extensive social media interactions, which are ongoing. And through it all, the following issues really have come up consistently. People do, after the pandemic, see themselves using public transportation. But people want more of a focus on things like bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure and safety, and better accessibility and equity in transportation across all different travel modes. So we're looking forward to a great discussion this afternoon. And I just want to give you a heads up that before we move into the breakout sessions, we're going to be recording those, and that's for note-taking purposes only. We will not be sharing those recordings publicly. And I just want to thank you a lot for your interest. I know we're all busy. I appreciate your interest in the NJTPA and in Plan 2050 and for helping us create a better transportation future for the region. And now, before we move into our discussion groups, I would like to welcome Carlos Medina, the president and CEO of the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. He's going to provide an overview of this afternoon's topic, and then we'll go into our breakout rooms and have questions and discussions. So I'm going to turn it over to Carlos, and welcome and thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ted. I'll tell you a little bit about the chamber that was founded in 1989. We're the voice of the 120,000 Hispanic-owned businesses that call New Jersey home. We estimate we contribute about $20 billion annually to the New Jersey economy. We've been dealing with COVID, and how has that community been hit? I think we fared slightly better than some communities. I know that's going to seem odd because on the news you hear often that Black and brown communities and businesses have been decimated. However, our polling internally of chamber members is that we're closing at a smaller rate than Main Street, New Jersey. And that's because many of these businesses are battle tested and already have gone through so many hurdles. And we have a really tight network that we call #Familia. So I think because of that network, we're faring slightly better than businesses. And we've been able to access a lot of resources through the EDA and other governmental agencies, but some of which those programs were tailored based on feedback from the chamber and other small groups and small business advocates in New Jersey. But there are vulnerabilities that have been exposed, not only health, but transportation, because as individuals that use transportation to get to their place of business or to the business that they own, and fearing COVID on the bus or the train, we've realized, and many of these businesses have realized, that what would you do without this mass transportation? So they've maybe turned to Lyft, Uber, who have had programs to fill in that gap. But it shows how reliant we are on transportation and how we need a reliable transportation that could only be improved in New Jersey. These businesses, I think in 2009, we have an example that while Main Street businesses were shutting at 10, 20%, Hispanic businesses were doubling and tripling. So again, I think in 21, we're going to see these resilient businesses continue to grow and aid in getting out of this economic recession that we're in currently. When businesses are looking to open a location, whether it be manufacturing, retail, transportation is obviously one of the first things that they ask us to help with. We help them with county organizations, with groups like Choose New Jersey, Business Action Center, and EDA, as I mentioned earlier. But location to hubs that could get their employees and get consumers and customers to their location is always an important, very important consideration. As I said earlier, Lyft and Uber have been partners, and I know there's been topic, and when we had a little pre-call this week, there's that last mile conversation that if mass transit gets you within a mile of your place of business or to where you work or where your employees and perhaps your consumers and customers need to go, how do we do that? I know Jersey City has tried unique programs with small buses. But these are all concerns that I think are a little bit more highlighted in the Hispanic community, because definitely the Hispanic community relies on transportation, mass transportation, public transportation, more than Main Street USA does.